Welcome to this explainer. If you're a focused learner trying to figure out exactly how the landscape of work and wealth is shifting right under our feet, well, you are in exactly the right place. Today we're breaking down a really fascinating source that explores how everyday people, and I mean absolute beginners, are building simple side businesses from home using artificial intelligence. We're going to treat this like a step-by-step tutorial, unpacking these seemingly complex tools using really simple, everyday concepts. Let's get right into it.
I want you to imagine a scenario that's presented right at the start of our source material. Imagine waking up tomorrow, opening your laptop, and making more money before breakfast than some people earn in an entire week. Now, if someone told you that just a few years ago, you'd probably think it sounds completely impossible, right? But the source highlights that something has changed this reality forever. And that something, of course, is AI. It has totally redefined what a realistic income goal looks like for a home-based business in its very first month. Instead of aiming to make millions right out of the gate, a totally realistic goal is using AI to land your first $500 freelance client, simply by letting the technology handle the heavy lifting.
Okay, let's dive into this. Section 1. The AI Wealth Shift. We are witnessing a massive shift where AI is no longer just complex tech locked away in giant corporations. Everyday people are leveraging it right now. Students, freelancers, parents, complete beginners, they're all using AI to build businesses, create content, and generate real income from home. And our source points out something incredibly important here. The biggest mistake you can make looking ahead to 2026 isn't trying to start a simple side business and failing. No, the real danger is completely ignoring AI while everyone else around you learns how to partner with it. Everyone else is figuring out how to use these powerful tools to their advantage, and sitting on the sidelines is literally the only guaranteed way to fall behind.
Moving right along to Section 2, Gaining Back Your Time.
So, time is obviously the most valuable asset any business owner has, and this brilliantly illustrates just how rapidly the landscape has transformed to give us that time back. A few years ago, back around 2020, AI still felt like straight-up science fiction to most of us. But look where we're heading. AI is rapidly becoming an everyday business tool. It's actively helping people right now to write books, edit videos, build websites, design logos, answer customer questions, and successfully launch online businesses entirely from scratch.
There is a major misconception out there that we really need to clear up, and this quote from the source does it perfectly. The opportunity isn't that AI does everything for you. The opportunity is that AI helps you work faster, learn faster, and create more than ever before. You kind of have to think of it not as this autonomous robot that's going to replace you, but rather as a super eager assistant. People who understand AI are finishing tasks in mere minutes that literally used to take them hours, and you can use that extra time to learn new skills, build out your projects, or, serve more clients.
All right, Section 3, Mastering ChatGPT for Business.
So how do you actually start? Well, our source reveals a countdown of 10 powerful AI tools, starting with tool number 10. ChatGPT. It is easily one of the most well-known AI tools in the world, and honestly, it's the absolute perfect starting point for any beginner looking to launch a side business. A lot of beginners assume it's only useful for really simple questions or maybe just helping kids with their homework, but that is barely scratching the surface. Experienced users and people running highly successful home businesses treat this thing like a core pillar of their daily operations.
Now, what's really interesting here is the sheer volume of daily administrative tasks this tool can handle for you. If you want a step-by-step tutorial on starting your side business, here it is. First, use it to brainstorm your initial ideas. Once you've locked in an idea, have it write blog posts or plan YouTube videos to get the word out. Then it can draft your daily emails, create compelling marketing copy to attract customers, and even organize your research so you can learn those new skills way faster. It's taking hours of tedious admin work and turning it into a few clicks.
Which brings us to Section 4, Writing the Perfect Prompt.
To get those amazing professional results we just talked about, you need to learn exactly how to write the perfect prompt. A prompt is simply the instruction you give to the AI, as the source captures perfectly right here. The secret isn't asking one question. The secret is learning how to ask better questions. So the crucial point is that this is the core lesson of our explainer. The more clearly you explain your exact goal to the AI, the more useful and professional the responses actually become.
Let's see how this builds in practice. If you use a weak, vague prompt, like just saying, write an article, you're going to get a generic, pretty boring response. But compare that to a strong prompt. Write a beginner-friendly article about healthy eating using simple English with practical tips and clear headings. That small, highly detailed change completely transforms the output. It gives you exactly what you need for your business instantly. To make this incredibly simple, I really love the everyday analogy the source uses here. Just think of ChatGPT as your creative partner. It's an AI tool that doesn't replace your ideas, but it helps you develop them so much faster. You are still the boss. You are still the creative hero of your side business. The AI is simply there to assist you and take on the heavy lifting on the administrative side of things.
And finally, Section 5, the future of search.
So continuing with the countdown from our source, the next platform on their list shifts gears entirely. It is fundamentally changing the way millions of people search for information online. Unlike the traditional search engines we've all used for decades, the ones that just hand you a massive list of blue links to click through, this new wave of AI search does something completely different. Instead of links, it gives you organized answers. It actually does the reading and the summarizing for you.
Which brings us to a really fascinating cliffhanger from our source material. I want you to think about your daily workflow and ask yourself, how will organized AI answers change the way you search for information forever? If you're no longer digging through pages and pages of links, what are you going to do with all that saved time? It's a massive shift, and frankly, it leaves us incredibly hungry to discover exactly what that next tool is. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning how these incredible
All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're looking at something that is fundamentally changing how we interact with information. We're going to explore how to drastically reduce your research time, cut out the absolute fluff, and work much, much smarter using two very specific AI tools. I mean, if you've ever felt completely bogged down by the sheer volume of information out there, if you've ever, lost your mind drowning in a sea of 50 open browser tabs while fighting through relentless SEO spam just to find one single tiny fact, well, you're in exactly the right place.
Now, I want you to think about something for a second. What if I told you that one single AI tool could save you hours of mind-numbing research every single week? Imagine opening just one clean, distraction-free interface and getting a highly organized answer in literally seconds. Contrast that with the absolute nightmare of modern web browsing, right? The endless fatigue of dodging auto-playing videos, clicking accept cookies a dozen times, closing pop-ups, and scrolling through a massive 2,000-word article just to find the one simple insight you actually needed. We're finally moving past all of that. And this quote right here brilliantly captures our core philosophy today. The people who learn faster often earn faster. In today's modern information economy, the half-life of a learned skill is shrinking incredibly fast. I mean, what worked perfectly 3 years ago, it might be completely obsolete today. Because of this, the speed at which you can comprehend and adapt to new information is a massive competitive advantage. These tools we're looking at are built for exactly this purpose, accelerating your learning curve so you can bypass the friction, synthesize data at warp speed, and get to the highly valuable creative work significantly faster. Okay, let's jump into Section 1, the evolution of search, introducing Perplexity AI.
So, there's absolutely no denying that traditional search engines originally changed the entire internet. They indexed the world's information, which was amazing. But now, AI-powered search is completely changing the way we actually consume that knowledge. It's a total paradigm shift. Think about the old search experience. You type in a query, and you're handed a frustrating list of links. It's entirely on you to open them, read them, cross-reference them, and figure it out yourself. But with an AI search tool like Perplexity, you're using an answer engine. It actually reads across multiple verified sources for you. It synthesizes the meaning, bypasses the SEO clutter, and hands you a clear, unified answer with inline references. It gives you a map to a dozen possible places. Actually, scratch that. It skips the map entirely and drops you right at the destination.
Let's actually ground this in a real-world example, but let's push it past the basic level. Say you're starting a tech-focused YouTube channel and you need to script a forward-looking piece of content. You could ask a generic question, but the real magic happens when you prompt it like a pro. Imagine asking something like, synthesize the top 3 predictions for AI video generation in 2026 from industry reports ignoring all consumer opinion pieces. Boom! Within seconds, Perplexity bypasses all the casual chatter and hands you a highly focused summary drawn straight from credible reports. It instantly gives you this massive head start, letting you skip the busy work and jump straight into your actual analysis.
Now, I need to pause here for a pretty massive warning. Speed of learning plus original thinking equals standing out. Having an AI answer engine do the heavy lifting does not mean you should just copy and paste everything it spits out. We've all read those robotic, soulless AI articles, right? It's a huge trap. The real advantage here is purely about speed and cognitive offloading.
You use the AI to gather the baseline context so you understand a complex topic instantly. Then you step in. You add your own original ideas, your human nuance, your lived experience. The professionals who use AI for the foundation but provide the human brilliance for the execution, those are the ones who truly stand out.
Think about a freelance consultant taking on a huge, complex report on electric vehicle infrastructure for a brand new client. Historically, they'd burn their first 4 or 5 hours just gathering raw facts and digging through disjointed articles. Now, they use AI to summarize the core topics and map out the entire landscape in a matter of minutes. And because they spend significantly less time on the grueling raw research phase, they can reallocate all those saved hours toward creating actual tangible value. They spend their time tailoring the high-level strategy to the specific client and polishing the final product. Smart professionals, they don't use AI to avoid work. They use it to elevate the quality of their work.
Moving right along to Section 2, Claude, the document summarizer, tackling the depth of long documents.
If Perplexity is your ultra-fast answer engine, Claude AI is basically your dedicated deep dive assistant. Let's paint a picture we're all way too familiar with. It's Friday at 4 p.m., you open your inbox, and bam, you get this daunting, incredibly dense 100-page PDF report that you absolutely have to understand before meeting. Reading and highlighting that could easily eat your entire weekend. But Claude has an absolutely massive context window. That means you can feed it that entire 100-page document all at once. It parses the meaning across all those pages, and you can just casually ask it to summarize the key ideas or find that one crucial, highly complex piece of data hidden on page 47 and explain it to you in plain English. No way you're doing that manually in 5 minutes.
And because of this completely massive time-saving ability, Claude acts as a critical, high-speed cognitive filter for practically anyone. Whether you're an academic trying to parse dense peer-reviewed studies without losing your mind, a business owner analyzing a stack of quarterly reports, or a writer reviewing massive amounts of source material, this tool is invaluable. If you deal with a heavy, overwhelming flow of information on a daily basis, this kind of document synthesis is an absolute game changer. But for content creators, specifically if you're writing essays or scripting videos, Claude goes way beyond just summarizing text. Think about the difference between a messy first draft and a captivating final product. Usually, our initial notes are just a massive brain dump, right? Just jumping randomly between scattered ideas. But you can prompt Claude to actively find the through line or the narrative arc hidden within your chaotic notes. It can help organize those fragments into a logical, flowing structure that actually keeps viewers interested. It's exactly like having a brilliant editor sitting right next to you, helping you shape your raw, messy thoughts into a really compelling story.
Which brings us to Section 3, the fast learner advantage. Speed of learning is the new competitive advantage.
Here's a secret that a lot of people just haven't fully realized yet. The future absolutely belongs to the people who can learn quickly. Now, AI doesn't magically install expertise into your brain overnight like in the movies. But what it does do is drastically reduce the friction of understanding totally new concepts. Say you want to learn advanced digital marketing. Historically, you might have to slowly slog through 5 dense textbooks just to get the baseline. But with AI acting as a personalized, interactive tutor, you bypass that passive reading phase. The AI explains the core framework, and then, and this is absolutely crucial, you can interrogate the text. You can debate it, ask highly specific questions to fill in your unique blind spots, and actively synthesize the material. You move from passive reading straight into active learning.
And really, that leads us to the ultimate goal of all this technological acceleration. Knowledge becomes valuable only when you use it. All the research, all the summarizing, the fast reading, it means absolutely nothing if it just sits rotting in a digital folder on your hard drive. By leveraging tools like Perplexity and Claude to bypass the busy work, we reclaim hours of our week and massive amounts of mental bandwidth. We free up our absolute most precious resource, our focus, to actually apply our knowledge, to experiment, to build things, and to do the deep, meaningful work that creates a real impact. It's not just about being fast, it's about reclaiming the energy you need to be brilliant.
Finally, Section 4, the next AI frontier, visual capabilities.
So far in this explainer, we've explored these incredible tools that accelerate how you think, how you research, and how you process text. But the AI revolution definitely doesn't stop with words on a screen. We are standing on the edge of something even bigger, and I want to leave you with this one final provocative thought. If you've just reclaimed 10 hours of your week by completely automating your text-based research, what happens when you apply that exact same blazing speed to high-end video and image production? Just imagine the scale of your projects if the visual execution was just as instant as the research. We're going to be diving into these groundbreaking visual tools, the ones changing content creation forever, in our next explainer.
Until then, take these text tools we discussed today, speed up your learning, and start applying your knowledge right away.
Hey there, and welcome to this explainer. I am so incredibly thrilled you're joining us today because, honestly, we are about to unpack something truly transformative for all you aspiring digital creators out there. To kick things off, I want you to do something super simple for me. Just close your eyes for a second. Now, I want you to imagine directing a massive, sweeping, Hollywood-style movie scene. You know, the lighting is absolutely perfect, the setting is breathtaking, but here's the catch. You're doing the whole shebang without a camera, totally without actors, and without spending thousands and thousands of dollars. You're doing it straight from that laptop sitting right in front of you. A few years ago, yeah, that sounded absolutely impossible, right? Like pure science fiction. But today, it is rapidly becoming our reality. Seriously, what if you didn't need a sprawling, massive crew? Or what if you didn't have to max out 3 different credit cards on incredibly expensive gear just to create cinematic realities? It is time we completely shattered the illusion that high-level production is somehow locked behind the gates of major Hollywood studios. The information we're diving into today, it's basically your personal guide to a brand new era of creation. Because the tools we're going to explore aren't just slightly tweaking how we make content, they are literally completely redefining what one single person can achieve. Section 1. The Solo Creator Revolution. Redefining Laptop Creation. Okay, let's dive into this old way versus new way comparison, because it's absolutely foundational. Think about the old paradigm for a second. If a small business or an independent artist wanted to create something highly professional, they were instantly hit with massive roadblocks. We're talking expensive production teams, agonizingly long timelines, and high budgets that could literally bankrupt a new company before it even got off the ground. But then, we have the new way, and this is exactly where you sit. You are a solo creator, armed with AI tools and the ability to rapidly iterate. You can drastically cut production costs and save weeks of planning, all while actually competing neck and neck with professional production teams. This is the revolution, plain and simple. One person with a laptop producing professional visuals that rival the big studios. Section 2. Crafting high-click visuals, mastering the still frame. So here's the thing. Professional designers can obviously create amazing artwork, but hiring them costs a ton of time and money. And instead of just staring blankly at a white canvas or paying premium rates only to wait weeks for a first draft, enter tools like Midjourney. You can generate exactly what you need fast. Just think about the sheer volume of visual opportunities you now have right at your fingertips. We're talking about eye-catching YouTube thumbnails, striking book covers, event posters, your daily social media graphics, intricate concept art, and even high-end business presentations. The most successful creators out there aren't just using AI to shave off a few minutes of work. No, they are using it to bring massive, complex ideas to life that were literally impossible for them to create alone before. Think about your own habits for a second when you're browsing YouTube. Before you ever click on a video, what's the very first thing you notice? It's the thumbnail, right? That single image is visual storytelling in its absolute purest form. A powerful thumbnail grabs attention and communicates a compelling narrative before a single word is ever spoken. You could have the greatest video, the most revolutionary product, or the best educational content in the entire world, but it will absolutely struggle and potentially fail if nobody clicks on it. So mastering this kind of visual storytelling is just as crucial as creating the content itself. So how do we actually do this? Well, let's look at a practical design tip straight from the source. Take this exact prompt: a futuristic city at sunset with flying cars, ultra-realistic, cinematic lighting, 8K. You don't need to know how to paint, you don't need to know how to render 3D models, you just need to be highly descriptive. Notice those specific words: ultra-realistic, cinematic lighting, 8K. In mere seconds, the AI transforms those descriptive words into incredible, high-clicking artwork. For a solo creator, learning to craft these specific prompts is basically your new paintbrush, and it completely bypasses that intimidating blank canvas. Section 3. Step-by-step cinematic workflow, the cinematic leap. Let's see how all this builds into an actual practical workflow you can use today. Think of this as your zero to cinematic process. Step 1 is the vision. This is where you, the creator, come up with the idea and craft that highly descriptive text prompt we just talked about. Then, step 2 is the still. You feed that prompt into Midjourney to generate a stunning, high-resolution thumbnail or base image. But we don't stop there. Step 3 is the motion. We take that simple, static image and feed it into generative video tools like Runway AI. With just that single image or maybe a quick follow-up prompt, Runway breathes life into it, generating a short, moving cinematic clip. Boom, you have just gone from a text idea in your head to a piece of cinematic video footage completely solo. Section 4. Scaling your small business. Big impact, low budget. For a small operation, this workflow we just walked through is an absolute game changer. Just look at the real-world applications. You can create captivating YouTube intros, sweeping visuals for documentaries, or highly professional product ads that look like they were shot in a premium Hollywood studio. You can make engaging social media videos and dynamic educational animations. Instead of needing to coordinate complicated schedules with an expensive production team, or scout locations, or rent heavy gear, you can produce visuals that once required massive resources right from your desk. This is exactly how new companies can massively boost their professional branding on a complete shoestring budget. Section 5. You are the director, the secret ingredient. Now this quote beautifully encapsulates the core philosophy of everything we are exploring today. Technology doesn't replace creativity, it amplifies it. So many people stepping into this space have this misconception that the AI simply does all the work for you, that you just push a button and suddenly become successful. That is entirely false. AI is simply the tool. The absolute best, most engaging results still come entirely from human imagination. Your curiosity, your unique perspective, and your ability to tell a story are what actually build audiences around the world, not just the raw technical output of a machine. So I want you to think of the AI tools like Midjourney and Runway not as your replacements, but as your crew. They are your lighting department, your camera operators, your set designers. But the most important element, that's you. You are the director. You are the visionary. The quality of the final output depends entirely on the quality of your ideas and how well you guide your digital crew. You are firmly seated in the director's chair, making the creative calls that dictate whether a piece of content actually connects with another human being. Section 6, the next frontier, voice, completing the illusion. So, we've explored the visual landscape, but now it's time to look ahead to something arguably even more powerful. What if AI could create voices so completely realistic that millions of people couldn't even tell the difference? We are talking about tools like 11 Labs and the mind-blowing power of voice cloning. Imagine completing your cinematic illusion with perfect studio-quality audio, allowing you to produce content faster than ever before. We are going to explore exactly how creators are using AI audio in the next part of this journey. So I'll leave you with this provocative thought to ponder. If your laptop can already replace a Hollywood camera crew, what happens when it can also flawlessly replace the...
Welcome back to The Explainer. I am so incredibly excited you're here today because we're going to walk through a literal step-by-step roadmap designed specifically for absolute beginners who want to navigate this massive new digital economy. And listen, this isn't going to be some high-level philosophical theory session, okay? We're prioritizing immediate, actionable steps so you can actually start generating revenue. So to kick things off, I want you to picture a scenario in your head. Imagine two people starting their exact journeys today. They both have the exact same laptop. They both have the exact same Wi-Fi connection. The playing field is 100% level, but what happens next? Well, that's where the entire trajectory of their lives shifts. Let's run a quick thought experiment and look at what happens exactly 5 years later.
So, we have a pretty stark contrast here. Person A spends the next year just scrolling through social media, right? Passively consuming, completely distracted by the endless feed. But person B, they're the focused builder. They spend that exact same year learning how to actually leverage AI skills. When we fast forward those 5 years, their lives look fundamentally different. And you know, the most important thing to realize here is that the difference wasn't luck. No way. It was a deliberate decision. It was the choice to learn a valuable skill. Because that is the exact bridge between just learning about cool new technology and actually transitioning to real, sustainable profit.
Okay, let's dive into this, because that little thought experiment naturally leads us to the single most practical question you could possibly ask today. What kinds of businesses can AI actually help you build? Like, how do we move from theory to execution? Well, today we're basically treating this explainer like a hands-on workshop. We are going to break down practical pathways, and we're focusing heavily on building quick prototypes rather than getting bogged down in, endless months of business planning. Right, so let's jump straight into Pathway 1, which is all about content and attention. Specifically, we're looking at the AI agency and the YouTube models.
To really grasp why this pathway is an absolute game changer, you just have to look at the current market. Literally every single business out there today needs a constant, never-ending stream of content. We're talking videos, blog posts, social media updates, email newsletters, the whole shebang. The demand just keeps growing, and businesses are honestly desperate for people who can help them keep up. And that is exactly where an AI content agency comes in. You let the AI do the heavy lifting, the research, the drafting, the brainstorming, and organizing all those ideas. Let's look at a concrete case study here. Imagine a one-person agency run by someone named Sarah. Now, instead of hiring an expensive team of 5 writers, Sarah uses AI. On Monday, she uses it to research trending industry topics. Tuesday, she's drafting initial outlines. Wednesday, brainstorming engaging hooks. And by Thursday, she's organizing all those ideas into a gorgeous, comprehensive content calendar. Because AI is handling these highly specific, super time-consuming tasks, Sarah can single-handedly serve 5 high-paying clients all at once. But here's the kicker. How do you actually pitch this to win those high-value contracts? When you pitch, you do not sell the AI. You sell the speed and the result. You look a prospective client in the eye and say, I can deliver a complete, highly researched 30-day content calendar in just 3 days. You're essentially using AI to scale your own time, and that translates to massive, immediate value for the client.
So the crucial point is this. Clients do not pay for AI. They pay for results. If you're building an agency, you absolutely must frame every single business idea from the perspective of a demanding client. Guess what? They do not care what software suite or language model you're using behind the scenes. They care if that newsletter drives sales. They care if that blog post brings in foot traffic. The people who are truly winning in this space right now are the ones who realize that solving real human problems matters infinitely more than just playing around with technology. You have got to combine these tools with strong human communication, genuine creativity, and strategic thinking. You have to add your own human touch to actually deliver the winning work the client is paying for.
Let's keep moving and see how this builds into another massive opportunity, the YouTube automation workflow. Right now, thousands of educational and documentary-style YouTube channels are using AI to speed up the major bottlenecks in their production process. You can use it for deep dive research, script planning, getting voice assistance, generating thumbnail concepts, and even getting editing support. It just drastically reduces the time it takes to get a video out the door. But here's the million-dollar question. How do you maintain high quality while you're scaling up with all these AI tools? Well, the secret is implementing really strict quality control checks before you ever hit that publish button. You absolutely cannot just copy and paste an AI-generated script and expect it to go viral. Success on YouTube still depends entirely on original ideas, compelling human storytelling, and creating a rhythm that viewers genuinely want to watch. Consistency and quality matter far more than shortcuts. Even with an AI doing the heavy lifting for you, a truly great video requires your specific editorial eye to make sure the final product actually resonates with a real human audience.
And that brings us right into Pathway 2, Products and Global Reach. Here we're going to focus heavily on selling digital assets and utilizing translation.
So this pathway is where you kind of step away from doing one-on-one client work and you start creating scalable assets that you can sell over and over and over again. We're talking about everyday things people buy: templates, study guides, printable planners, presentation designs, business checklists. These are highly practical items that solve an immediate problem. Let's make this super actionable for you right now. You literally only need 3 low-cost tools to launch your first digital product today. You use ChatGPT to brainstorm and draft the content, Canva to design it beautifully, and Gumroad to host and sell it. Boom, done. Let's look at another case study. Let's say you want to create a specialized study guide for nursing students. Even if you have a full-time job, here is your exact weekly schedule to build this prototype. Monday evening, spend just 1 hour researching the most difficult nursing exam topics. Wednesday evening, spend 2 hours using ChatGPT to structure and draft the guide based on that research. Then, Saturday morning, spend 3 hours designing it in Canva and launching your checkout page on Gumroad. It's that simple. But wait, before you go and spend weeks building some massive 100-page book, you need a checklist for validating new business ideas using simple feedback loops. First, define the core problem. Second, build a tiny prototype, like maybe a free 5-page cheat sheet. Third, post it in a nursing forum on Reddit or Facebook group. If 50 people download it and beg for more, awesome, your idea is validated. If no one clicks, no big deal, you just pivot. AI allows you to execute these rapid feedback loops in days, not months.
And this brilliantly illustrates the exact balance you need to strike when you compare AI output against the required human value. For digital products, AI gives you the drafts and the organized info, right? But your review, your editing, and your added expertise, that is what actually makes it sellable. Now consider localization. The internet connects billions of people, and creators desperately want to publish their content in multiple languages. AI gives you incredibly fast translation drafts, but what is the required human value there?
It's the native cultural check and the polishing. Manual human review remains absolutely essential for quality control here. Think about specific examples of how translation services add value for international clients. A direct AI translation might completely miss a regional slang term, right? Which makes the brand sound totally robotic or out of touch. Or worse, an automated translation might accidentally violate local marketing regulations or completely fail to match the specific cultural tone expected in that region. Adjusting those colloquialisms and ensuring cultural alignment is a premium service. Clients will happily pay top dollar for that. And AI is just the tool that gets you 80% of the way there instantly.
Okay, so we've covered some incredibly practical, hands-on pathways today. But to truly succeed and build something sustainable long-term, we need to shift gears to the ultimate lesson, shifting your paradigm.
Look, if you are going to transition from just being a beginner to becoming a profitable builder, you must internalize this concept. Your business is your ability to solve real human problems, rather than just operating AI technology. Really emphasize this in your mind for a second. AI is not your business. People simply do not buy technology. They buy solutions to their problems. They buy time back in their day. They buy peace of mind. If AI helps you solve their problems faster and solve them better, well, that is where the true value is created. Your focus absolutely must remain entirely on the human being sitting at the other end of the transaction.
But as we wrap up this explainer, I do need to leave you with a rather serious warning. Every powerful tool out there can be used the wrong way. And every single year, thousands of absolute beginners make the exact same costly startup mistakes. They focus on the wrong things. They over-automate their customer service until it totally alienates their loyal buyers. Or they completely fail to edit raw AI text, which literally destroys their brand's credibility overnight. They basically build these fragile businesses that just collapse under the weight of their own automation. So in our next chapter, part 7, we're going to uncover exactly how to avoid these traps and stay miles ahead of the competition. So I'm going to leave you with this one question to chew on. As you embark on this roadmap today, are you just trying to build a fragile, automated machine, or are you actually ready to build a lasting business? Think about it. See you in part 7.
Welcome to class, everyone. Go ahead and grab a seat, get your notes ready, and settle in. I am absolutely thrilled to be your guide for today's explainer. You know, you can really think of this as your foundational syllabus for navigating our modern digital landscape. We're jumping right into what I like to call AI 101, a masterclass in human-led creativity. Because as an educator and a creator, I see so many incredibly talented people step into the world of artificial intelligence with these massive expectations, only to just hit a brick wall. So today, we're going to break down the actual blueprint for success. Drawing on some phenomenal recent insights, we're going to help you avoid those common pitfalls and build a creative practice that is truly sustainable. Okay, let's dive into this. Here is our agenda for today's session. First, welcome to AI 101. Then, patience over instant success. Followed by creating, not just copying. Next up is fact-checking and transparency. Then, protecting the human touch, and we'll wrap up with the winning AI workflow. Starting right off with Section 1, welcome to AI 101, and really looking at the expectation versus the reality of AI. Listen, every single day, thousands of people open up an AI tool for the very first time, and they're expecting a magic wand. They expect overnight success. And when they don't get it after a couple of weeks, well, they just quit. But if you take away absolutely nothing else from our introductory module today, please write this down. AI is a productivity tool. It's a digital desk assistant designed to speed up your workflows, handle those messy first drafts, and organize your tasks. It is absolutely not a shortcut to easy money. It's not instant wealth. Misunderstanding this core definition is literally the primary reason so many beginners fail early on. They treat it like a winning lottery ticket, rather than a reliable assistant. Moving right along to Section 2, patience over instant success. This is how we overcome mistake number 1. So we've just established what AI actually is, right? Now we need to address this massive trap that new users constantly fall into, which is treating this incredible new technology as a total replacement for personal discipline. The equation here might look simple, but it's incredibly profound. AI speeds up workflow, sure, but it does not and simply cannot replace patience, discipline, or learning. Even though the technology is operating at lightning speed, crunching data in milliseconds, true, lasting success still requires a steady, patient hand. Your hand, because you cannot automate your own work ethic. So how do the absolute top students in this field actually operate? Well, the people who benefit the most from AI share 3 specific traits. First, they learn consistently. They don't just type in one prompt and walk away. They study how the tool reacts. Second, they practice regularly. They test out different prompts to see what yields the best results. And third, They incrementally improve their work over time based on those tests. If you want to get ahead of the curve, you have to focus on these incremental steps instead of searching for instant shortcuts. You're building a real career here, not a sandcastle.
Which brings us to section 3, creating, not just copying. This is all about overcoming mistake number 2.
This is exactly where we confront the danger of what I call the lazy workflow. I want to pose a question to the class right now. Think about the content you consume online. Why do hundreds of automated scripts out there sound exactly the same? I mean, you've totally seen them, right? The identical pacing, that generic vocabulary. It happens because beginners ask an AI for script, and then they blindly upload it without changing a single word. It just creates this absolute flood of identical content. And honestly, it is one of the fastest ways to lose your audience.
But here is your antidote. I call this the blueprint for originality. The most successful creators use AI as a starting point, definitely not the finish line. Step 1. Yes, go ahead and generate that AI draft. Let the machine do the heavy lifting of staring at a blank page. But then, step 2, inject your own personal insights. Step 3, add better, far more relevant examples. And step 4, this is the big one, share real stories. Don't just state a bland fact. Tie it to a moment you actually experienced, a mistake you learned from, or a triumph you had. Adding that authentic, vulnerable layer is exactly what builds genuine trust. Originality is what separates the true professionals from the amateurs.
Section 4, fact-checking and transparency. Let's look at overcoming mistake number 3. Now, I want everyone to really lean in and focus closely on this next part. We have to be incredibly clear-eyed about the serious professional responsibility you hold as a digital creator. Because AI makes mistakes. It can hallucinate facts or present information that is completely outdated. Professional creators, the ones building lasting, bulletproof careers, always verify important facts before they hit publish. Ethical transparency and meticulous fact-checking are just completely non-negotiable if you want to preserve your reputation. At the end of the day, accuracy is what builds your long-term credibility.
So, the crucial point is this. If you're operating in certain fields, the stakes are just exponentially higher. I'm talking about health, finance, history, technology, news. If you are producing an explainer or writing a professional document in literally any of these critical niches, you absolutely must take the extra few minutes to cross-reference your AI drafts against reliable, external, primary sources. Your audience is trusting you with their well-being and their knowledge. Please do not outsource that precious trust to an algorithm.
Section 5, protecting the human touch. Overcoming mistake number 4. All right, let's bring the energy back up. We're transitioning to the true emotional core of today's lesson. And I want you to genuinely consider this for a moment. Why do your viewers actually click that subscribe button? Why do clients choose to work with you, specifically, out of everyone else?
The answer is connection. People do not subscribe to you just because your content was made with some automated technology. They subscribe because they felt something. Look at this breakdown. True human connection is an equal mix of curiosity, excitement, inspiration, and genuine emotion. The technology is a fantastic assistant for generating the baseline content, sure, but it is the human connection, the feeling that you impart, that builds a loyal, dedicated audience. You have to infuse your work with genuine human emotion.
And finally, section 6, the winning AI workflow. Taking all this theory and putting it into practice.
Let's look at a really practical case study here, comparing two very distinct paths you can take right now. On one side, we have the lazy approach. Imagine a creator who just blindly asks an AI to write a script and publishes it totally unedited. Well, within weeks, their audience completely tunes out because the voice is just robotic. That path leads straight to burnout or irrelevance. Versus the human-led approach. Now, this professional uses AI strictly to outline and handle those messy first drafts. And by doing that, they free up hours of their week to focus strictly on injecting their personal stories, their genuine emotion, and doing that rigorous fact-checking we talked about.
So, let's move to our final conclusion today. Between those two creators we just talked about, who has more time to improve? Who has more time to learn? Who actually has more time to grow? The answer clearly, undoubtedly favors the human-led approach. By offloading all that tedious, busy work to AI, you reclaim the time you desperately need to actually master your craft.
Now, our syllabus doesn't end here today.
In our next lecture in this Explainer series, which will be part 8, are going to explore the specific careers and the exact human skills that are going to become even more tremendously valuable as artificial intelligence continues to evolve. You definitely won't want to miss that one.
And this brilliantly illustrates a thought from our source material that I want to leave you with today. The future isn't something that happens to us. It's something we prepare for. Remember, you are in the driver's seat. The AI tools, they're just the dials on the dashboard.
So class, here is your homework assignment. I want you to look inward. What uniquely human skills will you cultivate before our next session? How will you inject your own stories, your own empathy, and your own rigorous standards into your very next project? Think about it, get to work, and I will see you all in the next Explainer. Class dismissed.
Well, hello there. Welcome, university students, aspiring graduates, and future innovators. You know, if you're standing on the edge of the job market right now, looking out and wondering exactly where you fit into a world that's just increasingly driven by algorithms, honestly, you are in the perfect place. Today's Explainer is really meant to be a reassuring, highly practical guide to navigating your professional future. So let's just dive right in and map out exactly how human potential is about to completely expand on the AI frontier.
To figure out where we're going, we kind of have to look at where we've been, right? Every single major invention in human history has fundamentally shaken up the job market. Think about it. The steam engine completely reshaped physical labor. The internet revolutionized global communication. The smartphone literally put the entire world into our pockets. And now, we have artificial intelligence. Whenever a massive technological revolution like this happens, feeling a sense of uncertainty is absolutely natural.
And of course, that uncertainty leads us straight to the giant elephant in the room. Will AI take my job? It's literally the question on almost every single student's mind right now. And hey, when you're watching software write entire essays, generate beautiful images, and analyze complex data in literal seconds, it's so easy to look at your degree and wonder if it's even going to be relevant. But honestly, looking at the problem through this lens is actually holding you back. It is simply the wrong question to ask.
Actually, scratch that. Here is a much better, far more productive question. What new opportunities will AI create? Because history shows us time and time again that technology doesn't just eliminate old tasks. No, it generates entirely new industries, new demands, and completely new career paths that nobody even dreamed of a decade ago. It's really all about reframing your paradigm.
Okay, so here is our roadmap for today's Explainer. We'll start with the AI job revolution. Then we'll hit mastering AI communication, enhancing content and design, and streamlining with automation. After that, we'll look at the ultimate human skill, and finally wrap up with the next decade.
All right, Section 1, Mastering AI Communication. And we're looking at career number 1, the AI prompt engineer. So what is an AI prompt engineer? Basically, it's a professional who understands problems deeply and asks extremely clear, specific questions to communicate effectively with AI tools. And the absolutely crucial part there is understands problems deeply, right? This isn't just about memorizing some list of magical cheat codes or prompts. It's about bridging human intuition with complex technology. Think about this amazing success story of an engineer at a logistics company. They actually slashed supply chain delays by 50%. And they did it simply by asking the AI the exact right sequence of questions. Basically, the better your instructions, the better the results.
You know, the essential skills required for this highly technical job are actually incredibly human. First, you need the ability to understand complex problems before you even touch a keyboard. You've got to have the analytical ability to ask clear, specific questions and provide really strong instructions. As AI becomes totally ubiquitous, this foundational ability to just guide the machine is going to be your most valuable asset across wildly diverse industries, from finance all the way to healthcare. Moving right along to Section 2, Enhancing Content and Design. Here we are grouping together careers number 2 and 4, the AI content creator and the AI designer. Now, in the creative fields, there is this vital, fascinating contrast between software automation and human creativity. The software, well, it generates drafts incredibly quickly, it powers these slick AI-assisted workflows, and it lets you explore dozens of different artistic directions in seconds. But it fundamentally relies on human creativity. We're talking strong storytelling, really solid design principles, and most importantly, human judgment. AI speeds up the entire process, sure, but it absolutely cannot replace the soul of good design.
I really want you to remember this quote.
The audience comes for your ideas, not because you used AI. If you are an aspiring writer, a video producer, or a designer, please let this be your guiding light. Your unique perspective, your real lived experience, and your specific creative voice are your irreplaceable assets. The tools, they simply help you express those amazing ideas way faster.
When we peek into the daily tasks of modern creative roles, we see this really seamless blend of human and machine. Creators use these tools for brainstorming new concepts, exploring vast design directions without wasting, hours and hours, generating preliminary drafts almost instantly, and combining traditional storytelling with highly efficient editing. You're producing high-quality work faster, which ultimately gives you so much more time to focus on the nuance and the genuine emotion of your final product.
Section 3, streamlining with automation. And let's start with a quick mental quiz, okay? What takes up roughly 40% of an average business day? The answer is repetitive manual tasks. So let's look at career number 3, the AI automation specialist.
An AI automation specialist is essentially an expert who connects different software tools to streamline business processes and reduce all those repetitive tasks. Businesses today waste just countless hours on mundane work. So this professional steps in and acts as the ultimate problem solver. Imagine taking a totally messy 3-day data entry nightmare and turning it into a sleek, one-click morning routine. It's brilliant. And the goal isn't to replace people. It's to eliminate the robotic work so human teams can actually focus on high-value, strategic thinking.
So what does automating a workflow actually look like on a typical Tuesday? Well, you might build systems to organize a massive flood of customer inquiries instantly. You automate routine reports, basically rescuing your entire team from the dreaded spreadsheet abyss. You manage administrative work quietly in the background by seamlessly connecting totally different software tools. In this role, you really become the architect of the modern workflow.
All right, Section 4, the ultimate human skill and how to future-proof your career path. When you strip everything else away, it all boils down to just one thing: the ability to learn. Technology changes, platforms change. The absolute cutting-edge software you master today might be totally obsolete in 5 years, but the ability to learn, that always remains valuable. It literally never goes out of style.
People who keep learning just adapt faster. To build remarkable progress over your career, you have to maintain constant curiosity. And the best way to do that is to build small, consistent habits today. For example, try this weekly study habit. Dedicate just 1 hour, maybe every Friday afternoon, to test out a brand new AI tool or read up on some emerging software in your specific field. This simple habit absolutely compounds over time. Think about where you want to be 5 years from now. Small improvements repeated consistently, that is the exact formula for massive long-term career success.
And finally, Section 5, the next decade. What actually happens next?
Which leads us to the absolute biggest question of all. What will the world actually look like if AI continues to evolve at this crazy pace over the next decade? How are our daily lives going to change? And what completely new, unimaginable opportunities and, challenges will pop up? Well, in our next explainer, we are going to dive into some really realistic predictions about the future of AI. But until then, stay curious, keep learning, and always remember that the future starts right now. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer. See you next time.
Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome back to the explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating look at our not-so-distant future. We're pulling directly from Vision 2035, the human element of AI evolution. We hear so much buzz, so much hype, really, about artificial intelligence right now. But what does it actually look like when the dust finally settles? How is it going to fundamentally change our daily routines? Well, instead of just talking about abstract pie-in-the-sky concepts, we're going to explore this visually. We're going to walk through a timeline of a single day, exactly as it's outlined in our source material, just to see how the human element perfectly meshes with all this technological evolution. So I want you to do me a favor. Close your eyes for just a second. I want you to imagine the year 2035. But hey, don't just imagine some generic, shiny, futuristic city. Actually step directly into the shoes of a student living in that year. You are navigating a world where AI isn't some, experimental novelty anymore. It's just this woven, invisible thread in the very fabric of your everyday life. Through your eyes today, we're going to see exactly how using these incredible tools actually feels.
Section 1. Waking up in 2035.
Now, it's really important to realize that the future doesn't usually arrive in these giant, unrecognizable leaps, right? It doesn't look like an alien planet. It arrives one everyday innovation at a time. Just look at these 3 simple steps of your morning. Before you've even opened your eyes, step 1, your house has already adjusted the temperature to your exact preference. Then, step 2, as you get out of bed, your personal AI assistant has quietly organized all your info, planned out your schedule for the day, maybe it's even translating an international news article for your first class in real time. And step 3, your car simply drives itself to school. These are background automations. They're totally seamless. The technology is practically invisible, simply because it's so beautifully integrated into the natural rhythm of your morning.
Right off the bat, our source material highlights a really crucial foundational reassurance here. Quote, "The goal isn't to replace people, it's often to help people work more efficiently and access information more easily." End quote. This right here, this is the core promise of Vision 2035. This incredibly advanced technology, it isn't designed to take over human life. Absolutely not. It's designed as a profound tool for accessibility and organization. It strips away all that busy work so you can just focus on, well, being human.
So your autonomous ride drops you off, which brings us to Section 2, Meet Your AI Tutor.
And this brilliantly illustrates the massive leap we're talking about here. On the one side, we have standard learning as we've literally known it for decades. A fixed pace, a one-size-fits-all curriculum where, honestly, if you fall behind, you're stuck, and if you're ahead, you're bored to tears. On the other side, we see the AI tutor model of 2035. It features dynamic pacing, personalized practice, and it is fully accessible to every single student. It's literally the difference between a mass-produced education and a totally bespoke, customized learning journey.
Let's look at how this AI actually adapts to you in real time. Say you're sitting there completely struggling with a really complex physics concept. The AI tutor doesn't just, blindly push you on to the next chapter. It instantly recognizes your struggle. It slows down. It explains the concept at a completely different, maybe more visual level. It generates custom practice questions right there on the spot, perfectly calibrated to help you bridge that specific gap in your understanding. It instantly adapts to your specific learning pace, so it makes sure you truly, deeply grasp the material before moving on. But here's a really critical distinction we need to make. While the AI handles the personalized repetition and the pacing, human teachers remain absolutely essential. Notice the human connection here. Teachers are finally freed up to do what humans do best: mentor, inspire, guide social development, and really spark that genuine curiosity. The machine is the tool, the teacher is the guide. Let's fast forward to the afternoon. Section 3, AI in the doctor's office.
School lets out, and you accompany a parent to a medical clinic for a checkup. The source describes what happens next as a powerful medical partnership. The AI does the heavy lifting. It's rapidly analyzing images and cross-referencing millions of data points in literally the blink of an eye. To put that into perspective, an AI can process and compare more medical scans in a single hour than a human could in a lifetime. It's instantly detecting early disease markers that are entirely invisible to the naked eye, even accelerating early drug discovery. But the anchor remains completely human. The doctor exercises essential judgment. The AI is a highly advanced assistant, for sure, but it is definitely not the physician.
Let's actually compare these two roles side by side because it is absolutely fascinating. On one side, you have the AI's cold, astonishing analytical power, rapidly reviewing thousands of medical scans for the absolute slightest anomaly in seconds. On the other side, you have the human doctor. The doctor is the one taking that data and actually delivering the diagnosis. They provide empathetic, irreplaceable judgment, factoring in things like the patient's lifestyle, their fears, their family history. It's this perfect juxtaposition, really. The analytical capability of the machine supporting the warm, nuanced medical decisions that only a human being can provide.
Section 4, the challenges we face.
Okay, let's snap back to reality for a second. That vision of 2035 sounds incredible, right? Seamless mornings, perfect AI tutors, superpowered doctors. But to actually reach that ideal future, we have to navigate some highly relevant, incredibly complex issues right here, right now. The crucial point really comes down to this question: but who protects our privacy? Powerful technology brings massive ethical responsibilities. As these systems become more capable and frankly handle a lot more of our personal data, from our daily learning habits to our private medical scans, we absolutely have to ask the tough questions.
The source text maps out 3 critical societal conversations we're having right now. First up, data privacy. How can our personal information truly be protected when so much of it is constantly being processed? Second, misinformation. As AI gets scarily good at generating content, how do we reduce false information and verify what is actually real? And third, equitable access. How do we make sure AI benefits as many people as possible rather than just becoming a shiny new tool for a privileged few? It is vital to understand that discussing these safeguards and really debating these policies impartially across society is every bit as important as developing the technology itself.
Section 5. The real human opportunity. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how it completely reframes the narrative around human potential.
Because despite all those challenges we just talked about, the overarching message of Vision 2035 is incredibly empowering. It reframes the future not around what the machines are going to do, but around our own human capabilities. You see, the future won't belong to people simply because they own an AI or have access to one. Simply having the tool just isn't enough anymore. The true advantage goes to those who wield it thoughtfully, creatively, and responsibly. It's all about using these systems to build, to solve hard problems, and to elevate our own work. Think of it this way. The AI is the brush, but you are still the artist.
Technology provides the tools, sure, but what truly sets people apart comes down to three basic things: curiosity, judgment, and a willingness to keep learning. These are inherently human traits. I mean, an AI cannot be genuinely curious. It doesn't possess moral judgment. These are our greatest assets. In the year 2035, whether you're a student, a doctor, or a creative professional, your humanity is, without a doubt, your ultimate advantage.
We've explored where this technology is today and where it could be by 2035. We've seen it through the eyes of a student, we've watched it work in the doctor's office, and we've weighed those heavy ethical challenges. But as the source material reminds us, the final chapter isn't actually about the technology at all. It's about you. So I leave you with this final thought. What choices will you make starting today to define our collective future? Thanks so much for exploring with us, and we'll see you on the next Explain.
Welcome back, Focus Learners, to another Explainer. I am absolutely thrilled to have you here today, because we're looking at something that is literally reshaping how we work, create, and just live our daily lives. The source material we're breaking down today is called The Architect of Tomorrow, Adapting to the AI Era. It's a super fascinating look at how we can navigate and actually thrive during this massive technological shift without getting totally overwhelmed. If you're a busy professional trying to figure out how to maintain consistent growth in this wild new landscape, you are in the exact right place. Okay, let's dive into this.
I want you to really think about this for a second. Let's just pierce right through the screen here and ask, where will you be exactly 1 year from today? You know, as busy working professionals, we get so caught up in that day-to-day grind, answering emails, hitting deadlines, that we totally forget to look up at the horizon. But the stakes right now, they're incredibly personal. The decisions you make today are going to compound into the exact reality you're living in 365 days from now.
Because while we're sitting here, the future is literally unfolding. Like the source material points out, right now, while you're taking in this explainer, someone out there is launching a brand new business. Someone else is learning a completely new skill. Maybe someone's creating their very first YouTube video, or a peer in your exact industry is using AI to solve a real complex problem. The future doesn't pause for anyone, right? It's actively being built at this very second.
So that brings us to Section 1, the era of AI, the next generational shift.
Look, we're currently living through the era of AI, which is, without a doubt, our generation's massive technological shift. It's really easy to feel intimidated by the sheer volume of news, but to get it, we need some context. Every generation gets a technology that changes the game. In 1995, it was the mainstream adoption of the internet. By 2005, the smartphone started putting the whole world in our pockets. And now, hitting 2026, we're living through the rise of AI. And this brilliantly illustrates that AI is just the next iteration of tools we've already adapted to. It instantly demystifies the overwhelm, doesn't it? It's just like getting used to web browsers or mobile apps all over again.
Now, here's a kind of harsh but honestly liberating truth. Absolutely no one can predict every single change that's coming. No expert has a crystal ball. But the source material highlights a really crucial lesson from history. The people who stay curious and keep learning are always the ones who adapt best. In highly competitive modern industries, your greatest asset isn't knowing every little thing. It's your willingness to just keep learning. Curiosity is, for sure, your ultimate survival mechanism.
All right, moving right into Section 2, A Tale of Two Friends and the Power of Habits.
Let's look at the core parable of today's explainer. We're going to compare two very different but super relatable approaches to handling this exact AI shift. Imagine two friends who both hear about the massive potential of AI today. Friend A looks at this huge mountain of information and says, "Yeah, I'll learn it someday." They're waiting for the perfect time, maybe when work slows down, right? But friend B takes a completely different approach. They say, "I'm going to spend just 30 minutes every day learning something new." It's the paralysis of waiting for that mythical perfect moment versus committing to small, manageable daily actions.
Fast forward a whole year. So, the crucial point is, a year later, the difference between friend A and friend B isn't magic. It's not that friend B is some genius or suddenly had way more free time. That massive gap in their skill levels and professional value is simply the compounding result of hundreds of small learning sessions adding up over 365 days. Small actions, repeated consistently, inevitably lead to massive transformations.
Which leads us perfectly into Section 3, the 30-minute daily habit. This is your next step.
Listen, as a busy professional, you don't need to take a sabbatical to learn this stuff. You don't need to master every single tool or buy crazy expensive equipment. You really just need a tiny pocket of time. Here's a highly actionable schedule you can squeeze into your morning commute, your lunch break, or even just over your morning coffee. Step 1, start with one single skill. Maybe it's just learning to write a good text prompt. Step 2, practice it. Just play around. Step 3, build something small, like, automating a weekly email. And step 4, improve it. Then you just repeat that cycle. This continuous learning loop fits seamlessly into just 30 minutes a day and builds absolute rock-solid competence.
I want you to think of AI skill building not like waving some magic wand, but more like watering a seed or laying down bricks for a foundation. Progress comes from consistent effort, not overnight success. We've literally got to shatter the myth of the overnight success. What you're building through this daily habit is real, sustainable, professional confidence, and that only comes from showing up every day.
Okay, Section 4, from beginner to expert, building real value. As those little 30-minute blocks stack up, we hit the results phase. Because the goal isn't just to learn for the sake of learning, it's to translate these small habits into tangible career opportunities and personal confidence. The source gives exact examples of what this looks like. Over time, that beginner who's just messing around with prompts for 30 minutes a day, suddenly they're launching a small side business generating marketing copy. Or they're confidently creating their first video using automated editing tools. Or they're solving a huge logistical problem at their corporate job, making themselves totally invaluable to their team. This is exactly how daily consistency transforms beginners into highly sought-after industry professionals.
Let's just take a breath here and remember one simple truth. Every expert was once a beginner. It sounds so simple, but we forget it all the time. Some of today's biggest tech companies started with a ridiculously simple idea. Some of today's most successful digital creators began with a single, poorly lit video that literally nobody watched. They were all beginners who just decided to start. Zooming out for our final part, Section 5, the lifelong learner mindset, owning the future.
This whole thing isn't just about learning one AI tool and then stopping. It's about framing your entire long-term professional journey and how you want to show up in the world over the next decade. When we compare these two mindsets side by side, it is so clear the future will exclusively be built by those who take the first step. It's going to totally leave behind anyone paralyzed waiting for the perfect moment. Spoiler alert, there is no perfect moment. The software is always going to update, the algorithms are always going to change. The only way to own your future is to embrace the messiness of being a beginner today.
I absolutely love this distinction from the source text. Artificial intelligence is incredibly exciting, but it's not going to solve every problem magically, and it definitely won't guarantee success on its own. It's just a tool. The future isn't decided by the tools we have, it's decided entirely by human choice and application. It's all about how you, with your unique background and perspective, choose to wield this technology. So, what's our blueprint moving forward? Keep learning, keep creating, keep asking questions. The next massive wave of opportunity isn't reserved for people with the most expensive degrees. Nope, it belongs to the busy professionals who decide to carve out 30 minutes today, who stay insanely curious, and who relentlessly apply what they learn. I'm going to leave you with this final provocative thought. Which AI tool are you most excited to learn? Seriously, take your first step right now. Head down to the comments and declare it. Commit to it. Share your first learning step with this community. Because remember, the future belongs to those who never stop learning. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Stay curious. Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're diving into something absolutely transformative. Up until now, we've spent a lot of time exploring standalone AI capabilities, right? We've looked at AI that writes text, AI that researches super complex topics, the ones that create stunning images, edit videos with pinpoint precision, and even generate hyper-realistic human voices. And hey, these individual tools are absolutely fascinating on their own. But looking at them in isolation, well, it's kind of like looking at the spark plugs, the pistons, and the belts of a car engine without actually seeing the whole vehicle. It's incredibly inefficient.
In fact, studies show the average digital worker spends nearly 9% of their entire year just toggling back and forth between disconnected apps and tools. Think about that. Almost a tenth of your year just clicking between windows. That is a massive drain on your energy. So we really need to change how we look at this technology.
So, what actually happens when you combine all these separate tools into one unified, powerful workflow? What happens when you stop treating them as isolated little parlor tricks and start connecting them into a seamless, integrated system? Well, that shift in perspective is exactly where the future truly begins. It takes you from being a casual, maybe slightly overwhelmed user and turns you into a total master of your own creative process. Let's break down exactly how this works, starting with our first crucial component in a reverse countdown of the ultimate AI workflow.
All right, let's kick things off with tool number 3, AI automation. This is your workflow engine. This right here is the external mechanical side of our engine. This is where we take all those separate capabilities and string them together into a perfect step-by-step guide, especially if you're a beginner starting your very first AI workflow. Picture this. You wake up in the morning, and instead of staring in dread at a blank screen, you have a whole system ready to go. Step 1, a dedicated research tool like Perplexity or Google Gemini, collects today's trending topics for you, filtering out all the noise so you get exactly what your audience cares about. Step 2, an organizing assistant like Notion AI, steps in to help structure those scattered thoughts into a logical, flowing outline. Step 3, a writing assistant, maybe ChatGPT or Claude, creates a solid working first draft based strictly on your structured ideas. Moving on to Step 4, an image generator like Midjourney or Canva designs a compelling thumbnail concept. Step 5, an AI-powered video editor like CapCut or Premiere leaps into action to cut out the dead air and speed up production time. And finally, Step 6, a tool like 11 Labs brings your written script to life with incredibly natural audio. I recently spoke with a new creator who put this exact stack of tools together, and you know what? They went from spending 20 hours a week on basic production to just 10. But, and this is a massive but, this system completely relies on your careful planning and human review at every single step.
Listen, the goal here is absolutely not to just let AI do everything for you. If you just hit generate and walk away to get a coffee, your work entirely loses its soul, and you end up sounding like a robotic encyclopedia. Honestly, no one wants to engage with that. The real goal of setting up this automated workflow is to mercilessly eliminate the repetitive, tedious grunt work. By clearing away that mechanical friction, you completely free up your mental energy to focus on what matters: high-level creativity and strategic decision-making. In this setup, you're the visionary director of the project, and the AI, well, it's your tireless production crew.
Moving right along to tool number 2, AI for learning and improving your skills.
We're pivoting the narrative inward now. We're moving away from treating AI as just some automated factory that churns out content, and instead, we're looking at how to use it as an infinitely patient, highly personalized tutor. Because AI isn't just a replacement for human effort, it's a massive multiplier for human potential. One of the absolute smartest ways to leverage this tech is to rapidly improve your own professional skills. Want to learn coding? AI can explain complex Python loops to you line by line until you finally have that aha moment. Think about someone using this exact method to learn just enough coding to automate a totally boring spreadsheet task at their job. That single initiative can easily turn into a promotion to a data analyst role. Want to improve your conversational English for global business? AI can help you practice actively, carrying on a back-and-forth verbal conversation and gently correcting your grammar without any judgment whatsoever. Want to master digital marketing? It can take all that overly complicated industry jargon and break it down into bite-sized, simple lessons. This is exactly how you use AI assistants to turn new capabilities into genuine lucrative career advancement opportunities.
So, how do you future-proof yourself when the future just keeps changing at lightning speed? The answer is a universal truth. People who keep learning stay valuable, regardless of what crazy new software drops tomorrow. By framing your everyday AI tasks as a way to build lifelong learning habits, you are essentially building an impenetrable shield around your career. You aren't just memorizing where the buttons are on some new interface, you are fundamentally learning how to learn faster.
And now for the big one. Tool number 1, your mindset. Honestly, the most powerful tool of all.
Yes, software can generate text, it can create highly realistic images, and it can edit videos at blinding speeds. It does those specific mechanical tasks incredibly well. But you know what it literally cannot replace? Your human curiosity. It cannot replace your good judgment. Software lacks persistence, and it is entirely incapable of generating truly original, groundbreaking ideas out of thin air. It just remixes what's already out there. Make no mistake, human creativity and human grit
are vastly more important than the software tools themselves. The tools are nothing more than a powerful lever, but you, your mind, your unique experiences, your perspective, you are the one who has to pull that lever.
If you look closely at the creators and professionals who actually succeed over the long term, the ones who survive every random algorithm change and crazy platform shift, they all share these specific core habits. They keep learning constantly, because resting on your laurels is a one-way ticket to irrelevance. They experiment with new ideas fearlessly, because taking those swings is the only way to stumble upon true breakthroughs. They strive to improve every single week, because a mere 1% improvement compounds into massive mastery over time. And above all else, they build trust with their audience. Why? Because human trust is the only currency out there that cannot be hacked or automated. Technology will inevitably change. The tools we're geeking out over today might be completely obsolete in 5 years, but curiosity, persistence, and these deeply human habits, those remain universally and permanently valuable.
Let's zoom out for a second and talk about the future of AI and your career revolution.
Looking at the macro view, it's clear that every major technological shift has created massive new opportunities, even as it dramatically disrupted the old systems. Think back to the 1990s and the internet wave. At the time, millions of people were genuinely terrified the internet would just destroy global jobs. But what actually happened? Data shows the internet created roughly 2.6 new jobs for every single one it eliminated. Then, in the 2000s, we saw the smartphone wave, which birthed entirely new gig economies and massive app ecosystems out of nowhere. Now, in the 2020s, we are riding the AI wave. It's creating another massive shift. Yes, some jobs will absolutely evolve. Completely new careers will just appear out of nowhere, and businesses will be forced to adapt or be left in the dust. But this anxiety we might be feeling right now, it isn't unprecedented. It's just the latest wave in a very long, very familiar historical pattern of progress.
You see, the question isn't whether AI will change the future. That is already a guaranteed, unstoppable fact at this point. The real question is whether you will learn to use it wisely. If you're feeling anxious about being left behind, just remember this. Every single expert you admire was once a clueless beginner. Every successful creator started with one single, unpolished, frankly terrible piece of content. Every massive business began with one small, clunky idea. Your journey with this new technology does not have to be perfect. Perfection is literally the enemy of progress. It just has to begin.
I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Really picture this. Imagine yourself exactly 1 year from today. Are you still going to be sitting on the sidelines just watching other people build incredible things with AI? Or will you be one of the people actively creating, learning, and growing with it? The future doesn't wait for anyone, and the barrier to entry has literally never been lower than it is right now. The absolute best time to start learning AI, to start building your own ultimate workflow, is today. So here is my challenge to you. Open just one of these tools right now. Bring your most curious mindset and ask it one question.